Hello everyone. In this presentation we are going to see the remaining part of third chapter. The topics are directories as module and module.exports. The first topic, that is directories as module. There are various methods for working with the directories in Node.js. Node.js has built-in file system core module that exposes the API for interacting with the file system. Within that API, it has several methods specifically designed for working with the directories. Now we will utilize the functionality provided by the FS module to show various methods for working with the directories and provide you with the lot of code samples along the way. So we are going to consider various topics like check if a directory exists, create a new directory, list all the files in a directory, rename a directory, and delete an empty directory. The first one is check if a directory exists. The first method we will cover is how to check if the directory exists. FS has both a synchronous fs.access and asynchronous, that is fs.existsync function that can be used to check for the existence of a directory. So the first method is fs.access. So this function takes a directory path as an argument, and it is usually used to test a user's permission for a file or a directory. But if a given path isn't found, the function will give you error. Therefore, we can detect if a directory exists by seeing if the fs.access function returns an error or not. Here is an example of what the code will look like. So, constant fs is equal to require in bracket fs fs.access in bracket dot / directory name comma function in bracket error. If error, console.log display the message as directory does not exist, else console.log directory exists. The first thing we do is import the FS module. Since this is the built-in to Node.js, we don't need to install any npm packages. Then we use the fs.access function and pass a directory path to it as the argument. And we also pass a callback function as an additional parameter that returns the error if it exists. If error exists, that means the file doesn't exist. So we use if-else statements inside the fs.access function that logs different message depending on whether the file exists or not. Second method is by using fs.existsync. As the name suggests, fs.existsync function tests whether or not a given path exists in the file system. The synchronous function takes a file system path as its sole parameter. Here is the code. Constant fs is equal to require in bracket fs try in bracket if fs.existsync in bracket / directory name, then display the message console.log directory exists, else console.log directory does not exist. Catch, in catch module we will say console.log error occurred. Since fs.existsync is synchronous, we create a try catch method to wrap the code into catch any errors that may occur. Inside the try catch statement, we use if-else statement where we use fs.existsync function to check if the given path to the directory exists. When you run the code, a message will be logged indicating whether or not the directory exists. Now how to create a new directory. Another function that FS module provides is fs.mkdir. So this will make creating a new directory or folder We will go over both a basic example of creating a directory and how to create multiple levels of parent directories. So consider the basic example of how to use fs.make directory. So we are going to create the code this way. Constant fs is equal to require in bracket fs.mkdir in bracket dot slash new directory name comma function in bracket error. If error, then we will display console.log in bracket error. Else console.log new directory successfully created. So we use fs module and then pass the path of the new directory as an argument to the fs.make directory function. A callback function is also passed as an argument to the function. If no error occurs, the directory is successfully created. When you run the code, either a success or error message will be logged. Consider now how to create a parent directory. If you want to recursively create multiple levels of directory that don't exist yet, you must have Node v10.12 or greater installed for this functionality to work. Also note that it is not supported on Windows platform. So the code is this way. Constant fs is equal to require in bracket fs.mkdir in bracket dot slash files slash a slash new directory name recursive true function in bracket error. If error console.log error, else console.log new directory successfully created. So the code will create a new directory at a path of file slash a slash new directory name. Whether or not the files or file slash a directories exist already. If they don't exist, fs.mkdir will create them along with the slash new directory name directory. Other than that, the code works the same as the basic example from last slide. Now list all the files in a directory. The next method is how to create a list of all the files in a directory. We'll also show you how to list out files located in subdirectories. So how to use fs.read directories sync function and also how to use it in a more advanced way to recursively go through each subdirectory. So the basic use of fs.read directory sync. Before we create the recursive solution, consider a simple example using fs.read directory sync function. The fs.read directory sync function takes a directory path and a callback function for arguments, and it returns an array of the files as a relative path to the directory you passed as a parameter. Create a node.js file this way. Constant fs is equal to require in bracket fs. Try constant array of files is equal to fs.read directory sync in bracket dot slash directory name. Console.log in bracket array of files. Catch in bracket e console.log in bracket e. So consider what's happening over here. Since fs.read directory sync is a synchronous function, we wrap our code in a try catch statement to help manage our code and catch any errors that might occur. Inside the try section, we pass a path to a directory named directory name to the fs.read directory sync function and hold it in a variable called array of files. When that variable is logged, you will have an array of relative file paths to each file and subdirectory inside the directory. The output will look like this. So what if our directory has subdirectories that have files we want to include in our list. So get all the files in the directory. So we will go over how to recursively get all the files in a directory. To do this, we need to create a recursive function that can call itself when dealing with subdirectories. And we also need the function to go through each of the subdirectories and add any new files it encounters to the list. When the function is finished, it should return an array with all the files it encountered. How to rename a directory? The fs module provides fs.rename and fs.rename sync function that handles renaming of files and directories. I will show you how to use both of those functions. They both serve the same purpose, but one is synchronous and the other is asynchronous. Therefore, the code will look slightly different for each method. Consider the first, fs.rename sync. We will go over this asynchronous fs.rename first. The fs.rename function takes two parameters, old file path and new file path. The old file path will be the current name of the directory we want to change, and the new file path will be what we want to change it to. Here is how the code will look like. So create a create the Node.js code this way. Constant fs is equal to require in bracket fs. Constant current path is equal to dot slash directory name. Constant new path is equal to dot slash new directory name. fs dot rename in bracket current path comma new path comma function error. If error, begin console.log error, else console.log successfully renamed the directory. The first thing that we have done is we have created the current path and new path variables. This represents the path to the directory we want to change and the new name we want to give the directory. Then we use the fs.rename function and give it three parameters: the current path variable, the new path variable, and a callback function that returns an error if one occurs. When you run the code, a success message will be logged. If an error occurred, the error message will be logged. Consider how to delete empty directory. This is the last method we are going to cover. So, deleting the empty directory is a very easy process of simply using fs.rmdir function. But the non-empty portion will be more tricky because we will need to build a function that recursively goes through all of the subdirectories and removes each file it encounters. So consider how to delete empty directory. So here is the code that will show you how to use asynchronous fs.rmdir method. Constant fs is equal to require in bracket fs, fs.rmdir in bracket dot slash directory name comma function in bracket error. If error, then console.log in bracket error, else console.log directory was deleted. The fs.rmdir function takes a path to the directory you want to remove and a callback function that will return an error if it encounters. Inside the callback function, we do some basic error handling and log a success message via console.log when the directory has been successfully removed. We have already seen how to create a new folder. So we use fs.mkdir or fs.mkdir sync to create new folder. So we have seen the function. So constant fs is equal to require in bracket fs. Constant folder name is equal to slash user slash give your name slash test. In try write down if not fs.exist sync in bracket directory, then fs.mkdir sync in bracket directory. Means if directory doesn't exist, we are creating a directory by using mkdir catch in bracket error. If there are errors, so those will be cached in the catch function console.error in bracket error. Consider now what is module.exports. So export module in Node.js. So we will learn how to expose different types as a module using module.exports. The module.export is a special object which is included in every JavaScript file in the Node.js application by default. The module is a variable that represents the current module and exports is an object that will be exposed as a module. So whatever you assign to module.exports will be exported as a module. Let's see how to expose different types as a module using module.exports. Consider what is export literals. As mentioned above, exports is an object. So it exposes whatever you assign to it as a module. For example, if you assign a string literal, then it will expose that string literal as a module. The following example exposes simple string message as a module in message.js. So write the message.js program this way. Module.exports is equal to hello world. Now import this message module and use it as shown. Write the app.js this way, where message is equal to require in bracket dot slash messages dot js console.log in bracket message. Run the above program and you will see the output as hello world. You must specify dot slash as a path of root folder to import the local module. However, you do not need to specify the path to import node.js core modules or npm modules in the require function. In the same way as above, you can expose an object with the function. The following example exposes an object with the log function as a module. Write the log.js code this way. Module.exports.log is equal to function in bracket message. Console.log in bracket message. The above module will expose an object log colon function in bracket message console.log in bracket message. Use the above module as shown. Write the app.js file this way, where message is equal to require in bracket dot slash log.js message.log in bracket hello world. If you run and see the output, so it will show you hello world as the output. You can also attach an object to module.exports as shown. So create a data.js file this way. Module.exports is equal to first name colon give some name, last name colon give some name, and app.js file write this way, where person is equal to require in bracket dot slash data.js console.log in bracket first person dot first name plus some space plus person dot last name. If you run the above example, you will get the output this way.